makes logical sense.
Yeah.
It makes all the sense in the world for me. But at the time, like, how do you tell that to people who didn't know about the broken jaw, the separated shoulder, and fucking me? To me, if I would have, if I had the voice to tell people what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
But, it was at the time. And it was a great memory. I'll never forget. There was a really good picture at my dad's visitation of me hugging him after that match.
Yeah.
Which I'll never forget. It was really cool. So.
Well, like I said, I won't divulge that Stephen Youngblood told me to ask you that. but
no, I mean he makes a good point. Like, it's something that was pinnacle in my life.
Yeah.
It was pinnacle in my life and pinnacle in my wrestling life because, like, my dad, he always told me put family first.
Yeah, for sure.
Family first. But he never discouraged me from wrestling. He was kind of like, it was kind of like, you do what you need to do, family first, but if you love this, do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of how it was. So, I always loved it. I didn't have a family of my own at the time.
Right.
So.
Now, how long after that match was it before your father passed away?
It wasn't very long. It was like, I was maybe, what was I? Maybe sophomore or junior when I had that match. My dad passed away when I was a senior in high school.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I remember shortly after your dad passing, like, the next show that you were at, it was just kind of like, that was most of SCW's first time seeing you since.
Yeah.
And, kind of before the show starts, you came in, everybody got their hugs in, and even then you were just kind of like, don't worry about me, I'm fine, like, go on with the show.
Yeah.
And I respected that. I like, hey, you and I weren't all that close, but I was like, hey, man, I'm here for you if you need. And you were just like, everybody just go about it like it's a regular show.
Yeah. I never, when it comes to pro wrestling, I never wanted, whatever is going on, you know what I mean? I never wanted what is going on in my life outside of wrestling to affect our show. You know what I mean? It's like an actor showing up going, you know what I mean? Like, in real life, my father might have passed away, but I can't let it affect what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, and I respected that at the time. I still respect it, and you still went out that night and wrestled like your world wasn't falling apart.
Yeah.
And so I give you all the props in the world, man. Freaking, that had to be tough.
It was, man.
Yeah.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Boom.
But yeah,
so
we actually worked out a storyline later on that, like, pulled people in.
Yeah.
I will talk about because it's personal, but at the same time, when I was telling you that whole thing about Colby, he didn't want to hit me.
Yeah.
Anyways, we did this whole angle where me and him were tag partners, and whatever. Danny McKay was our champion at the time. Of all people.
Classic.
Danny McKay was our champion, and he cut this promo of like, you never know who's going to be on my side or whatever, and Colby's like halfway through between the ropes, and I kick the ropes into his nuts.
Yeah.
And the crowd's like this, I remember this gasp.
Yeah.
And then silence.
Yeah.
And I set the chair up, and I gave him a brainbuster on an open chair.
Yeah.
And there was still silence.
Yeah.
And then we had this feud where he wouldn't hit me, which I thought was great. I was like, this is great. Because Crotch and his brother did something very similar.
Yeah.
Where Crotch wouldn't hit him. Like, we did it kind of like, I don't know if it was the same time or like before. Or it was around the same time.
Yeah.
It was very, very similar. So we did the whole thing, and like Colby comes out and cuts this promo, and we wanted to make it real.
Yeah.
And like Ben, who was a part of wrestling at the time, kind of.
Yeah.
Ben Insane. Colby comes out and cuts this promo, and he goes, because he was training, he was traveling. He goes, I remember when because he brought up my dad dying, and we were talking about this.
Yeah.
And he goes, you know, you're one of my friends, and like your dad dying, and I remember thinking, I wish I could be there, but I need to take on that role. And I remember him talking to me. He goes, is that okay for me to say it? And I go, I think this is the realest thing you could say, to pull people in and really, like, let's mind fuck them.
Yeah.
And I came out, and it was totally unfiltered. Like, I come through the curtain, I'm like, fuck you, you can't fucking say that.
Yeah.
You're not my fucking dad.
Yeah.
And, like, I was saying that, like, and I was louder than the microphone.
Right.
And I got in the ring, and I grabbed the microphone and go, you were never, ever my real fucking friend.
Yeah.
And right now, or it was something like along the lines of like, you're so fucking lucky right now I don't break your huge fucking nose. And like all of our friends at the time were like, Colby, your nose is huge as fuck, bro. We used to like talk shit about it. So like when I walked in and I said that, that's something you would say to your friend if they fucking pissed you off.
Yeah.
So I walked up and I'm like, you're so fucking lucky I don't break your fucking nose right now. And like people were like, oh shit, dude, do I... And Ben was like, dude, it gave me goosebumps because I thought it was real. Well, I thought it was fucking real.
Well, that's the thing. At the time, I was wrestling on those shows.
Yeah.
And they didn't, script team didn't go through...
everything that was going to happen, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't go through all that with everybody and like, oh, by the way, this shit's going on later, so just so you know, this is happening.
Yeah.
So... They only talked to at least guys like me. They told me about what was happening in my match.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was like, "Great, cool. Don't go hang out in the crowd. That's all you have to remember. All right, have a good night. And once the show's over, get ready to tear that fucking ring down."
Yeah, right.
So when your guys' gimmick was happening, like we'd creep out through the kitchen.
Yeah.
And stand at the end of the bar inside the reception area and just kind of hang out, and this was happening, and we're like,
oh shit, was he supposed to say that?
He said a curse.
Yeah.
He's going to get in trouble.
Yeah, it was like curse words, and like the fact that he brought up my dad dying and he wasn't able to go to it. Like, we brought in some real shit. And like, I remember my family being in there, my grandma being there. You know, my grandma's on my mom's side. Yeah. But my grandmother was super close to my dad. Like, they were really close. So...
But even regardless, I know she was invested in you.
Yeah.
So that had
and her being there, and her being there, and like hearing that from Colby, because like Colby was like a family friend, dude. Like,
and I'm sure you didn't warn Grandma.
No, of course I didn't.
Right.
So you have to make that shit real, especially when Grandma responds. Like the crowd's gonna look at her and go, "Oh shit, that's real."
Yeah.
So.
If Grandma's sitting back pensive, and not caring, everybody's like, "Oh."
We shouldn't care either.
This is bullshit.
We shouldn't care either.
But if she's up in arms, it's like, we're with Nana. Like, we're coming to fuck you up.
Yeah, for real. And that all happened in, like, a friend of both of ours, Ben, was there. Yeah. And Ben goes, dude, that whole thing gave me goosebumps. I thought it was real. Yeah. I thought what he said made you come out of the locker room and want to fight him.
Right.
And I was like, that was what we wanted to do.
Right.
And you're not supposed to cuss and say the F word a million times in front of people at that time. And, like, we were like, dude, what would you say if somebody said that?
Right.
Like, we got to make this as real as we can.
You can't come out and go, I don't like that. No.
Yeah, I'm going to kick your butt.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like,
and that's okay for them to say on WWE, on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
But...
we have to unfilter it. Our crowd is more intimate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the thing about independent wrestling to me, is those local people, that is their, instead of once a week we get, when we're like, oh my God, I have to wait once a week for my fucking next episode.
Once a month.
Dude, once a month.
Right.
That's how long they have to wait for that. Like, I need that. I need to know what's going to happen next.
But in between, they might catch you at Walmart. Hey, are you and so-and-so still friends? He's off doing it. Like, I'm here to get vegetables. Like, I'm not...
Yeah.
You guys have a good one.
Yeah.
And like, then when the next show comes around, I was like, they're waiting with bated breath, and then this comes about. Even for the guys in the back, like, I know that me and a few other guys, we saw that happen, and then seeing it bleed back through the curtain into the back, we were able to see kind of the best way I can describe it is being able to go from above the water and below the water.
Yeah.
Like being able to see, oh, there's the boat, and then looking under and seeing a different aspect of the boat. You know, we were able to see you guys out in the ring and painting this picture, and then be able to run around through the kitchen and go into the locker room and see you guys come through and just like, all right, we're good. It's like,
yeah, the best part was like even when like the ring's being torn down, I was like, all right, like we gotta stay away from each other.
Yeah.
No matter what, we have to stay away from each other because there are fans that still linger.
Yeah.
No matter what, and we did. And like I always kept my back to him. Always during that whole time, I kept my back to him. Even if, like, people thought, they're like, oh, maybe it's just a show.
Yeah.
But no matter what, if he walked by me, I would turn my back to him. So I was, like, always, like, no matter what, like, little by little, like, trying to tell people, like, I don't fucking like him. But, you know, we were still brothers. He's like one of my best friends at the time. You know what I mean?
But while the show is going on, and even after the show's done and everybody's wrapping up, that painting doesn't have any edges. There's not a border.
Oh,
that
no.
shit bleeds out.
Oh, it does.
And thank you for being able to paint that picture and not go, all right, show's done. So Colby, where are we going to IHOP?
Yeah. No. We stuck. We stayed away from each other. I mean, the only time we went anywhere where we knew it was going to be like, all right, it's just wrestlers.
Yeah.
Was like maybe the Wrestle House.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If at the Wrestle House, we knew anybody who was coming there that was a fan was smart enough to not like fucking like leak information. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was one of those things.
Yeah. Now, how soon after that did you jump to First Wrestling?
Oh shit! This is a huge jump, dude. Like that whole program happened, and then me and Colby ended that program, and I was training with Danny. I remember Danny hating the fucking ending of the match that me and Colby had, where I kicked him off the balcony and he landed to the 2 tables and he kicked out, and it wasn't for the belt, and I handed it over. Dude, to me, all right, Colby made all of the fucking sense in the world. It was like, for us, we were trying to tell people why this fucking made sense. They don't get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. I fucking got it. Colby fucking got it. I beat the fuck out of him for... Dude, it was a long feud.
Yeah.
It was I kicked him off a fucking balcony. He went through fucking 2 tables. He kicked out. And fucking, we're in the ring and I'm booting at him. I'm like, why don't you fucking stay down? He gave me the finger.
Yeah.
And I slapped him and he jumped up off his knees and gave me God's last gift.
Right.
And he beat me. Dude... To make the transition from a heel to a face, to me, was what is the humble thing to do no matter what, even if I fucking hated him at one point. Yeah. You got to think about the character dynamic. It's not just pro wrestling at that point. It's character development. It's television, man. Like, villains become heroes. Villains make decisions that are confusing to make you like them.
Right.
So, to me, at that time, I was like, it's not for my belt. It's your belt. You painted black. I'm walking around with it.
Right.
Because I basically stole it from you. Yeah. It wasn't for my belt. And the transition to me as from a heel who fucking hated somebody who was once my brother, who upped me and beated me at what I was trying to get past him and make it better than him, I couldn't do. So as a man, I accepted my own defeat and I gave what was rightfully his back.
Yeah. It was a respect thing.
It was a respect thing. And as a man, even if it wasn't for that, I gave it to you.
Yeah.
Danny, he didn't get it at the time. Now, as I say it now, and I talk about character development and what it does, I guarantee it makes sense. Because it does. It does make sense. It makes all of the fucking sense because I turned babyface the very next time. And I gave him the belt, I shook his hand, I raised his hand, and and I left the ring.
Yeah. Well, there are a few different types of wrestling fans. There are some fans